I'm Rabbi Eisenstein, and I have been for many years the leader of the Reconstructionist movement, succeeding Rabbi Mordecai Kaplan, whose ideas produced the movement or led to the formation of it. In those days, I'm talking about the 30s and 40s, people were rebelling against their traditional Orthodox upbringing, and they were looking for an alternative. Reform Judaism did not attract them because it was very Goyish and very high church, as it were. And conservative Judaism hadn't really started seriously. Rabbi Kaplan came up with a really new idea, most of which had been adopted by the Jewish world since his first book came out. It was called Judaism as a Civilization. The idea was that Judaism is not just a creed, not something you believe in. I mean, the Jews are not merely a society of believers. They are a nation, a people, a culture, a civilization, with a land and a history and a tradition and a language and a literature and music and art and social organization, comparable to any people, except, of course, unique in the history of the Western world. And therefore, it didn't require a commitment to a particular belief in order to make yourself part of the Jewish people. If you're interested in the rebuilding of the land, if you're interested in the language, if you're interested in Jewish philanthropy, if you're interested in Jewish music, you could attach yourself to that culture. He also emphasized the fact that this civilization has been evolving over the centuries, and his emphasis was on the creative aspects of Jewish life. In other words, that one need not merely adhere to what was done in the past, that you could improve on it, you could change it, you could add to it, and that opened up vast possibilities. Of course, because these ideas were rather strange and new, and people kept thinking of Judaism as going to the synagogue and praying and nothing really else, it took a long time for these ideas to percolate. We spent years really writing books and pamphlets and lecturing all through the 40s and 50s, and in fact into the 60s. I became the president of the foundation. It was called a foundation, Reconstructionist Foundation. And I began to realize that we would not really grow unless we could produce leaders who could personally convey the message to people and organize congregations around these ideas. So in the late 60s, we finally persuaded enough people to support the effort to establish a rabbinical college. And in 1968, I became the first president of the rabbinical college. And we began to train rabbis in this philosophy with a unique curriculum, which I think is still unique in rabbinical training. We have so far produced about 175 rabbis. And because we have now our own leadership, the movement has grown to over 80 or 85 new congregations all over the country and in Canada. And the movement has been launched. And here in Woodstock, we have Jonathan Kliegler, who is a graduate of the college, and he's carrying out, right here in Woodstock, very, very successfully, the approach that we adopted in our Reconstructionism. Although, I must tell you, the congregation has not yet officially joined the movement, but I have high hopes that before very long they will. Now, two of the graduates, Rabbi Jeff Roth and whatever her name is, started this Eilat Chaim, both graduates of our college, who began to experiment on a completely new creative approach, which grew out of the Reconstructionist idea that you don't go merely on the old path of a synagogue or temple or shul or school, but that you try to establish a total environment in the country where people would stay and live there and have their meals and shut the rest of the world out for a period of time so they could experience Judaism as a civilization, where they eat, drink, dance, paint, sing, daven, everything that a Jew does in the course of life. And that is one of the newest developments, an outgrowth of our movement.